Summers versus Hill. Step forward, please.
43-year-old auto mechanic Gary Summers claims his live-in girlfriend of 11 years, Veronica Hill, ran out with his money and son.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please, all rise. Judge, number 86 on the calendar in the matter of Summers versus Hill. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
You folks lived together for 11 years, or were together for 11 years and have a 5-year-old child.
Right.
Not married.
Right.
According to your complaint, sir, the defendant left you, and when she left you, she took $1,300 out of a business bank account.
Right.
You want your $1,300 back.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
During the 11 years that you were together, did you work?
All the time.
What kind of work did you do?
I've done printing, working in car wash, cashiering in a drugstore. Right now I'm currently in payroll and billing at a temporary service.
When you left, we'll get to that event in a moment, but when you left, what monies did you have after 11 years?
You mean as far as savings?
Yes.
Nothing.
What about property?
The only thing I had that was in my name that he's already taken was a car.
So this $1,300 was what you left with after 11 years?
Yes. And that and my son.
Now, Mr. Summers, I find some of the things that you say interesting. First of all, you were in business together.
No.
Well, you were in business.
Right.
What kind of business, sir?
Automotive air conditioning.
And what did you do in the business?
Service and repair automobiles, their air conditioning.
Did you have a shop?
No, I'm mobile.
What do you mean you're mobile?
I do it out of the back of a truck.
How long have you been doing it, sir?
4 years.
The business was in her name.
Yes.
Why?
2 reasons. One, I thought that it needed to be because of Social Security, because I also have an incurable spinal disease that leaves me on the sedentary rule for work. The sedentary rule for work. Anyway, I was given Social Security.
Just a second. You lost me someplace. You received Social Security disability.
Right.
Social Security disability means that you are disabled and cannot work.
Not under the sedentary rule.
Well, tell me what this rule is, because as a taxpayer, I would like to see what I could do to get it changed.
Okay, sure. Sure. It means that any repetitious, anything that is done for any certain period of time, no longer than 15 minutes, I didn't make the rules. I just go along with it.
And how long have you been on disability?
8 years.
And you've been doing this work running around in your truck, fixing cars for 4 years.
Right, right.
So what you're telling me is, sir, that the reason you put the business in her name is because you were afraid that if the business was in your name, your disability would stop.
No.
Well, then...
No, that's not true. I have a 5-and-a-half-year-old son, Your Honor, that I wanted to be able to provide for in case anything happened to me. That's the God's truth. That's why I put it.
Sir, you're lucky that a lightning bolt didn't come right down.
Well, let it strike me. That is the reason why. That is the reason why.
That's a lot of baloney.
Well?
That's a lot of baloney.
Okay.
The baloney part is that when you're receiving disability, disability means that one is unemployable. And if you opened up a business and if you were told the Social Security Administration 4 years ago that you were now involved in doing work that was not repetitious because you were going someplace else, they would have stopped your disability.
No, ma'am, they have not, and I have. And I have. I'm allowed to have anything as long as it's not over $2,000 in my account.
I see that you got the system down to a science. How much, by the way, how much do the taxpayers give you every month from disability?
$650.
Pocket money. Nice. All right. Now, you also bought a house.
Yes.
Sir, while you were together. Is that right?
Yeah.
And according to your papers, you put the house in your name.
No, my father actually bought the house.
What do you mean your father bought the house?
My father bought the home so that I would have a home for my son to grow up in. I'm paying the mortgage payment.
You're making the payments?
Yes, I make the
So the
mortgage
house is in your father's name?
Yes.
Interesting. Got this really worked out. And what did you do with your money, Miss Hill, when the money that you earned?
It went towards groceries and bills.
Did you have a joint account?
Yes, we did.
But the house you knew was in his father's name.
I knew that it was always in his father's name, but I just recently found out after we split up that it is also in his name. Not my name, but his and his
You're
dad's.
telling me that it's in joint names with his father?
That's what I was told.
Is that true, sir?
No, the insurance is.
What do you mean the insurance is?
Well, because I live in the home, it was good to put me on the insurance in case anything happened to the home.
But not her. So you got a house and you have a business and she's got $1,300, period. What else did she leave this 11-year relationship with, sir?
My son.
You say in your answer to his complaint that you found certain papers before you left in the house.
Yes?
Would you like to tell me, please, what papers you found before you left with your son?
Gary had already started proceedings to get custody of my son, and I didn't know.
How did you find those papers, and where did you find them?
I found him in his work clipboard. One day I was looking through it, I don't remember for what, but I found the papers in there underneath some invoices.
And what were the papers for? What did they say?
He was filling out the papers already to take me to court to get custody of my son for me.
When had you begun to fill out those papers, Mr. Summers?
Around the end of March.
And when did you leave, Miss Hill?
April 20th, and I found those papers in the beginning of March.
Had you ever gone to court seeking custody before you found those papers?
Never, not until March 7th, and March 6th, excuse me.
March or April?
I'm sorry, April.
Had you already left the house?
No, I did not leave until April 20th, and that was the day before our hearing.
And at the hearing, who was awarded primary custody of the child?
Well, that first day that we went to court, he was ordered to go and be drug tested. And after we went to court again on May 14th, we were both awarded joint custody with my residence being the primary.
What was the result of the drug test?
Positive.
For?
Marijuana.
Mr. Summers, you lived with Miss Hill for 11 years.
Yes, ma'am.
They do not have anything in this jurisdiction and in most other states about community property for people who aren't married. If they did, she'd be entitled to a lot more than $1,300.
Ma'am, I earned that money. She got all of her money that she...
What do you mean she had all of her money?
Well,
From
whatever
where?
she earned, she took. The other account she took out of there. The savings she took out of there.
Just a second. Did you take out any other money, Miss Hill?
Yes, I did.
What other money did you take out?
I took out $200 from our personal account.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes,
What other money did you take out?
I took out the $1,300 out of the business account.
and the savings.
What about...
Golden One savings.
Just a second. I have
wasn't
$200
much.
that you took out,
$200 out of the personal and $1,300 out of the business.
and you said something about a
And the
savings account.
Credit union savings account was in my name.
And mine.
How much money was in the credit union?
$25.
The whole thing. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the whole business.
There was about $25. That's all there was when I cleaned it out.
Okay.
There was only $25. The most we ever had in there was probably about $600, and that went little by little for bills or whatever.
And how much do you think was in there, Mr. Summers?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know because it was gone before I got to it, before I checked on it. But I don't believe that it was just $25.
Think it was maybe $200?
Well, maybe at the most. It wasn't a large sum of money, no.
So, at the most, you say maybe it was $200. So what Miss Hill left with was $1,700, right?
She's ready to rule.
I better watch out for my son because my son needed to live in a better home.
And later today,
And they call my son a white supremacist because he's sitting on a phone booth threatening my son, and my son just reaches up and grabs him by the arm and pulls him down.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
So after an 11-year relationship, she left with $1,700. So, and the business was in her name. She can take whatever she wants out of the business. You put it in...
Even though she didn't earn it. Even though I went out and I'm the one that deposited that money. She never deposited that money. Had it been in my name, then it would have been okay because we lived together.
What I'm telling you is you had an 11-year relationship, sir, and if you expect this woman, after she finds out that you, behind her back, are seeking to take custody away from her, of her child, without discussing it with her, which is exactly what happened. Oh, exactly what happened.
No, ma'am, because I could have done it and I never did. And I wasn't about to, and I have a doctor.
So what'd you do?
I have a doctor that I see quite frequently, okay, for counseling. I asked him to please set up somebody so that we could stay together. I tried to keep us together. I did that. I didn't want any split up. I never did want to split up. When she became very adamant on the fact that she couldn't live with me, then I thought I better watch out for my son, because my son needed to live in a better home.
Okay, well, the court has already made a determination about where your son is going to live. He's going to live.
He hasn't. No, they haven't, Your Honor. That is not true.
If they haven't, they haven't. That's not really
That is not
before
true.
me. According to you, the court made at least an initial determination that primary custody was with
Right, but
you.
I've been served with papers again because he's taking me back to court to sue me again for custody.
I'm not suing anybody. I'm doing what you're supposed to do in family law. I'm giving my response to the last hearing.
Good. Well, I'm giving my response to you, Mr. Summers. I'm dismissing your lawsuit. That's all.